This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Sumidouro Farm. But before that, this video is brought to you by Daniel Norris and Mr. Payne and Nico the Motherless. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Sumidouro Farm can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now, I just so happen to have looked up Sumidouro in Google Translate. One, to help me pronounce it, and two, it just so happens to, according to Google Translate, mean sinkhole. So think of this as the Sinkhole Farm. Now, I would be interested in those that do know Portuguese, if that is a proper translation or not, and if it is not, then what would be a more accurate translation? Let me read you some of the description. Sumidouro Farm is a Brazilian map with a relief and a real-life PDA of the region of the municipality of Sumidouro in the state of Mato Grosso. This map includes 20 medium and large fields with missions, 3 new crops in rice, Carioca beans, and alfalfa. The machine workshop is located inside the village, so the dealer trigger to maintain your vehicles is separate from the dealer trigger to buy your vehicles. Grain can be sold at 2 different sell points. There's a supermarket sell point that will accept various crops like potatoes, beets, milk, and production items in pallets. If you need limestone, then take your trailer to the limestone seller. You can also sell stones there. To sell milk, go to the supermarket or add a dairy to produce milk. Now, as an aside here, there are no productions built into this map, just as a quick aside. You start with one main farm that is kind of separated out into 2 areas. In fact, you can see both of those areas here on the preview image. We have the one part of the farm here that has all of the animal areas. Then there's another little part of the farm, which is just this shed we can just barely see through the treetops. There are also several other buyable farm areas that you can buy scattered around the map. All land on the map can be purchased. The map also has a sugarcane factory where you can sell sugarcane. There is no snow on this map. It says the winters are dry and cold. Now, this map does include several required mods. So in addition to the mods that we typically use when we take a look at maps, that is additional field info, additional game settings, animal food overview, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. We're also going to be making use of the BR small shed, the banana tree, Brazilian cow barn, Brazilian fences pack, bunker silo set, chicken barn large, confining cows, the ESC large shed. We have the pig feed buying station, pigsty and manure heap. We have the small farm pack, the small horse pasture, South Brazilian warehouses, and the Southern Brazilian wood house. I will tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you will find the farms are built out exactly how you're going to see them here in new farm mode, with the exception you do not own the land, nor do you have any starting machinery in those alternate game modes. This map is making use of a custom soil map, and we will be seeing that in the very near future. And we also have a custom crop growth schedule as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. And one of the first things that is going to stand out is the large nature of these fields. There's a few smaller fields to the northwest as well as to the east, but the vast majority of these fields are fairly large. This map does include all the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 22, as well as the 3 new premium expansion crops. And then, of course, we have the 3 additional crops in rice, Carioca beans, and alfalfa. Taking a look at our lands page, we'll see that we start out by owning farmland ID 19, which is separated up into 3 distinct areas. We have the large area here to the northwest, which is where we're going to find all of our animal areas other than chickens. That's going to be over here at this area, as well as our farm silo. Then we have a shed over here where most of our machinery is stored right across the street. And then as far as additional farm buyable areas, we have farmland ID 20. You can buy for $78,000. We have Farmland ID 21, which you can buy for $232,000. Farmland ID 22 for $125,000. Farmland ID 23 for $59,000. Farmland ID 24 for $36,000. And Farmland ID 25, which you can buy for $207,000. We do have the option of buying all of the unbuyable land for $3.8 billion. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. The farmland lease screen is going to show us all of the buyable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, what is included, then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us. As you can see, we have some quite large farmlands and some rather expensive farmlands at that. Taking a look at our field calculator screen, this is going to show us all of the buyable fields and how large each particular field is. You can take a look. Field 3 is 51.48 hectares in size. Field 9 is 26.3, and field 10 is 32.7. Field 15 is 23 hectares in size as well. So these are some pretty sizable fields. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how that custom soil map is being applied to these fields. Quite an interesting soil map we have, where it is mostly loam with patches of silty clay, sandy loam, and loamy sand. Taking a look at our crop counter, we do have a southern hemisphere crop counter because you can see we are starting in February as opposed to August, which is when we typically start for northern hemisphere maps. And you can see how the planting and harvest schedule has been worked around for that. Taking a look at our prices screen, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game crops that are available to us in Farm Sim 22. In addition, we have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, as well as our silage, hay, straw, and grass. Taking a look down through all the base game production items, we once again do indeed have the ability to sell all of the base game production items, and that particular sell point is going to be the grocery store. We do have the ability to buy bulk lime, as well as the ability to sell our stones. And then we have, for new sell point or new crops or field types, we have alfalfa, alfalfa hay, rice, and Carioca beans. Then we also, if you do happen to own the Platinum expansion, we do have the ability to sell all of the Platinum expansion items, once again, down at the grocery store sell point, or supermarket, I should say. And then we do also have the ability to sell our premium expansion production items and crops. If you are going to be playing with pumps and hoses, we also do have the ability of getting rid of our separated manure. Taking a look at our vehicle overview, we do start out with a fair bit of starting equipment. All of it is new. None of it is leased. We also start out with 20 pigs. Then we have 30 cows between 2 different barns and 11 chickens. We do have contracts available on this map. As I mentioned earlier, there are no production items on this map, so we do not own any production chains at the start either. And this map does have 20 collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the New Holland T6 175 small tractor, as well as the Massey Ferguson 3709AL. We have the 2017 Lizard pickup truck, as well as the John Deere Gator. We have the pair of Brantner DD 24073/2 XXL trailers. We have the Maxima 3-till planter, the ZATS 3200 fertilizer spreader. We have the Brantner TA 12050 power spread plus manure spreader, as well as a Super Cis 800 slurry tanker. We have the Kuhn GMD 4411 side mower and the GMD 3123F front mower. We have the GF 8712 tedder, as well as the Merge Max 950 windrower. We have the Pottinger Boss Alpine 251 forage wagon, the VB 3190 round baler, and the SW 4014 bale wrapper. We have the Pro Chop 150 bale shredder, as well as the RA 142 TMR mixer, and the MKS 8 liquid tanker. We have a Flegel silage roller for compacting our silage, And then we have a Hauer XB150 as well as Quickie Q3M front loader arms. And for the front loader arms, we're going to be making use of the fork with grapple and the bale spike. Now, as far as mods and DLCs, let's take a look. This map does not include any custom vehicles or implements. Now, if we just kind of hop the fence here, this is some of our starting machinery in this shed. As the description said, we can sell all of the buildings that are on owned land. So we own this land here that includes the shed. This building right here can be purchased. It is not owned at the start, but if we do buy this, we can sell the gates. We can sell this wall that goes around, as well as the building itself. And then across the street, we have the rest of the starting farm area, or should I say the predominantly rest of the starting farm area. We have a small horse pasture located right here. You can hold 2 horses in this facility. Now, what's interesting is we don't have the icon that shows the unloading point here. We have a water trough. We have then our food trough and straw triggers. We have some bags of pig feed, bags of seed and fertilizer, as well as some totes of herbicide and liquid fertilizer. We have a fuel tank. We have 2 cow areas. First one's located right here where we have 10 limousine cows. We have our slurry point, our manure heap. Then we have our food trough. One of our 2 silage bunkers. Got a pallet of silage additive. That's nice. Here we have the other cow facility. So we have our milk trigger there. We have 20 Holsteins in this particular facility. It's going to hold 400. So water, food, slurry, and we have our second silage bunker. Then on the other side of this cow pasture, well, we've got our pig area. So we have our food trough. And we can spray paint our shutters there, our curtains. Our slurry point. We're going to be able to hold 400 pigs in this facility. Let me turn our lights on. Pretty slick there. And then that is pretty much starting farm there. We're just going to quickly fly down the road to get to the other part of Farmland 19. And this is also land that you own at the start. So we have another fuel point. We have a chicken coop. It's got 11 chickens, 360 in total. Just 5 short of an entire year. Here we have our food trough. We have our silo, dump, and fill point. Nice bale shed. I believe this is a water point. Then we have our farmhouse, located right here. Now, I don't know. Oh, yeah, we can go inside. There we have our wardrobe and our sleep trigger. So as I mentioned, everything at all of this owned land can be sold. So all of the viable farmlands, so farmland 19 through 25, if you buy the land, you can indeed sell all of the buildings on there. So with respect to our scoring metrics, can the farms be customizable? Yes, they can. And then also, as I mentioned, does the map have production built in? No, the map does not have production built in. So you will need to put down your own production points if you do want to do any production. Now let's take a look at our build mode, because we do have a bevy of required mods, and as you would expect, we're going to find several of them here in build mode. Under sheds, silos, containers, tools, and then we do have the farmhouse. We have all of the DLC production items. We do have multiple custom animal areas that are again part of the various required mods. And then as far as landscaping textures, we've got some interesting landscaping textures going on here. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. We have animal mud. We have asphalt. Concrete. Now we have 3 dirts. And honestly, I can't tell the difference between them. So we have 1 dirt right there. We have 2 dirt right there. And we have 3 dirt right there. They're the same. Maybe the texture's slightly rotated or something, but they pretty much look the same. Then we have another dirt. We have forest ground. We have grass. We have dry grass. There. Gravel. Rock. Granite. And wet sand. As far as plants go, we do have some custom paintable plants. So we have our daisies. Yellow daisies. Bluebells, we've seen those before. Edelweiss. Apera. Apera. We have that one. We have Rumex. We have that one. We have that one, and then our final one there as well. So remember, this was animal mud. And so we have our base game animal mud, but it's got some kind of red tints to it. Asphalt, concrete, and then we had our 3 dirts. Dirt 1, Dirt 2, and Dirt 3. If there's differences, I would love to know. Then we had a kind of lighter and darker shade dirt. We have our forest ground. We have our grass. We have a dry grass and our grass right there. Gravel. Then this was rock. Okay, it just looks kind of a wrinkly up, no longer wet ground. And then we have granite. And then we have our wet sand. Then we have our paintable foliage. So as you can see, we do have some utility lines running through these fields. And these utility lines do have collisions on them. So if you are going to be making use of hired help on these large fields, do note your hired help will avoid those utility poles. If you're using on PC Courseplay, then you'll likely have an option of going in and telling Courseplay to basically work around those. So that is something important to note. We have one of the little buyable areas right next to a grain sell point. We have another viable farm area located right there. Then we have another one right here along the road, just a little notch out of a field. We have another sell point. Let's make our way down south. The other side of the river. It's a really cool area down here. This is going to be where I think we're going to be selling our stone and buying our lime. And then just for fun, I want to kind of run the river. I think the map author did a really cool job of putting this in. Then we're going to have to pop up and drop back down. And then down here to the southwest, we have the sugar processing area. So we're going to be able to bring our sugar cane into here. Then there are two fill points. We're going to have to bring our Mahindra down here and see what we can get out of those areas. Then we'll make our way back up to the northwest corner where we're going to find our vehicle dealer. So as we are making our way back up there, let's talk a little bit more about our scoring. So we talked about giving the map 0 points with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. Now, I guess you could probably say maybe the map could deserve a half a point there because we do have basically 6 viable farm areas and we can sell those buildings and put production down. So I might be a little hard there on the scoring. I'll give you that. So maybe thinking about it, let's revise that to half a point because we do have other farm areas we could buy and put production down. The ability to sell all of our base game crops, animal outputs, and production points. Yes, indeed, we do have that capability. Got our animal dealer here and our bale sell point there as well. Then here we have our vehicle dealer. Then as we already mentioned, we can customize all of the starting farm areas, all 3 of those, and then the 4 viable areas, or should I say 5 viable areas. Let's go ahead and pick up our Mahindra. And while we're here, we can pick up a free cartridge of Get Off My Field. Can I collect it? There we go. It's a little close to the shop trigger. Makes it a little bit difficult. Where? Oh, here it is. hidden in the shadows. Hidden in the shadows. So we've got a fairly large area for our new vehicles to spawn in at, which is a good thing because we're going to be wanting to buy lots of big machinery given the sizes of these particular fields. Now, I believe I mentioned earlier on in the video that the dealer shop right here is separate from the dealer maintenance trigger. That is actually located down here in town a little bit. Before we get to that, let's run across to our animal dealer and Bales sell point once again. So we have our Bales sell point located right here. We have our animal dealer buy trigger located right there. Now, with respect to buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique and then ground textures, we're going to be giving the map a half a point there. While the majority of these buildings are not using the new texturing technique, they are, for the most part, using flat textures like this custom wall and this structure right here. They don't necessarily detract from the player's enjoyment of the map, in my opinion. They're not drastic, you know, wow, that is a really, really old building type of a look that we have seen on some maps. So that's where we're going to go with a half a point there. Here we have the dealer maintenance trigger. As I mentioned earlier, you see is right here in front of the building. Then we have our grocery sell point located right here. They're going to accept the bulk of our productions as well as our root crops. Then directly over here to the left, that is the third starting farm area. So we've already taken a look at that. I have a very interesting setup with this map. If you're looking for large farming, you can definitely probably fill your appetite on this map. Now this is one of the buyable farm areas. It just includes kind of a bale shed, fuel point, and such. Then right next door to that, we have one of the grain sell points. And we have our dump station. We have another possible player farm located over here to the left. And again, we've got a couple buildings. Not a lot going on at these kind of optional player areas. They do have some utility lights. You can sell those light poles if you wanted to. Clear these trees out and you'd have a nice placeable area for factories. For sure. As far as the fields go, they're fairly flat. They might have a little bit of roll to them, so you might be okay with respect to slightly underpowered machinery. small little cutout here that is also viable land. And I may have missed my turnoff. Let's go back. I likely missed it because I was looking down at the PDA trying to figure out how to get down by the river area, and probably completely missed the turnoff, which of course I did. So another green sell point right here. Now let's see if we can't find our way down to the bridge to make our way over to the area south of the river. It's going to be where our stone and lime is going to be. I really like how this map has been set up. I really like the southern area down by the rivers, or down the river. It really does look like a little bit of a jungly area. And there we go, starting to dive down. The water has eroded away. Trees are growing up here, all types of other foliage. We have, a couple like steps to the riverbank, river's edge. Make our way down this kind of mining area. So here we have the stone crusher, if you will. And then we have our lime fill point. Right here. See where this takes us. Right back up the way we came. And we also have a land bridge just north of fields 17 and 16. Let's see if we can't take that, get over to the sugarcane factory. I think this map would probably run really well on later systems, later configured systems. You might have a little bit of a frame hit down here by the river, just because of the number of trees that we have over here. pretty well known that trees are the bane of frames. They will suck your frames down faster than anything else on Farm Sim. And this is the largest, I guess, viable player farm area other than the one we start at. This would be a really interesting multiplayer map. Now, you don't have a lot of fields, really, for multiplayer, but the fields you do have are fairly big, so it can definitely be a multiplayer cooperative type setup. So again, all of these kind of viable farm areas, they don't include a ton of buildings. Fairly utilitarian in their setup. And we're going to dive down into the sugarcane factory. Now, the description calls this a sugarcane factory, but really, it's a sugarcane sell point, because there are no real factories on this map. You might need something with a lot of power to get up out of this. So that was a fairly steep decline. So we have our sugarcane drop off right there. Then we have 2 fill points, and I don't really know what these are going to allow you to buy product. So let's go check and see what we get here. So we get manure. Okay. We get manure out of that one. I wonder if we're going to get... I wonder if slurry is going to be the other point. Yeah, this point is probably most likely slurry, given the pit that's over there. So what we can buy is manure and slurry from there. That is, you know, production waste or production output as a result of processing the sugarcane. So guys, that is the Sumidouro Farm map, as Google Translate puts it, the sinkhole map. We're going to wrap up our scoring by giving the map 3/4 of a point with respect to are the trigger areas clearly marked. We're lacking a few marker areas with respect to the horses and the shop. So that is going to give this map a total score of 3.75 out of 5. I'd like to know your all's thoughts down in the comments below with respect to this map in particular. What do you think of utility poles in the middle of the fields, especially when they have collisions? Are they the bane of your existence, or do you enjoy working around them and having a more realistic time in working with things like that that are, of course, in the way in the fields? And until next time, happy farming.